expressions. He's got it. Nearly. Jimmy Adams finally gets 100. It's been a long, epic struggle for the West Indies captain.
This is the only cricket club I've ever represented. I started here 13, so I was in second year high school. As a young teenager, I was made to feel very welcome by some of the old stalwarts of my time. We're here, Alan Ray, Jackie Hendricks, so Jeffrey Dujon, Maurice Foster, just to name a couple. So it's a club that had a rich sort of history of producing cricketers, but they really made a young teenager feel really welcome, and that was it really. Well, the first thing that you became very much aware of were the two boards that were in the bar, and one had the batting and bowling averages for the club going back to the 1930s. There were three boards. One had the international representatives, and one had the international representatives who were captains. After, 25 years, 30 years at the club, to have ticked all those boxes, I think, and the memories that came with it, mean a lot. There was a rich mix of sort of generations here, and all of them really made me feel welcome and were very helpful over different periods in my career. And then just what the facility represented, it was the international ground, and over time I just became very familiar with it. Every blade of grass, I knew the wicket inside out. The atmosphere here, even before these stands were built, was something that I was very much aware of, and it became part of the whole experience. A full house was just very loud, as any Caribbean full house can be. And I grew up experiencing the big crowds, even at regional level, to be honest. And the occasional club game, when Kingston played Michael Holding's Melbourne or Lawrence Rose, Kensington, you would see more people than you get for Test cricket now. And international games, it was fantastic. The noise, it was a little bit intimidating for those who didn't know it. But it was home for us, or for me anyway, and I thrived on it. I loved, you knew who the people were, what sort of instruments they were bringing on the day, and just the whole atmosphere. Having the Jamaican crowd come to support cricket was great as a youngster. I guess the first Test match here would have been, that I played, would have been against England.
Jimmy Adams, of course, is the local boy. He's a Jamaican. He looks pretty solid though, doesn't he? Once again, it's another West Indian batsman who set out his stall to get onto the front foot wherever possible.
It was a really good occasion for me. You got performances in. I only got in because Hooper was injured, which was sort of like the story behind my first 9 or 10 Test matches. So thanks, Carl, I appreciate it. It was very late the night before the game that Hooper said he wasn't going to make it. So maybe that helped to control some of the nerves.
Well, that's a glorious stroke as well. All timing from Jimmy Adams, so he gets into the act as well. And this crowd at Sabina Park is alive.
It was a good wicket, good batting wicket. We had a really good informed batting lineup. All left-handers, Atherton, Lara, myself.
And he's got it.
He's got it this time. Murray's out of the blocks, and an excellent and invaluable 50 for Jimmy Adams and the West Indies.
You do it in front of your home crowd, to lift your bat for a Test 50 here, it was really, really special. I managed to get a 90-something. Disappointed I didn't get 100, but really happy to have gotten a score.
Well, this is the time when if you're Jimmy Adams at the non-strikers end, your heart's in your mouth for a couple of balls, while Courtney Walsh has all the pressure. If you get out, you really have let your partner down.
Oh, that's close too. And out, yes! Steve Buckner confirms that Courtney Walsh has gone. It's the last West Indies wicket to fall. Jimmy Adams will have to trudge his way off this field. Satisfied he's done a fantastic job for the West Indies.
I hadn't played a test for 2 years. So, you know, in those days, the competition for places was really, really tough. So whenever you got the opportunity, you wanted to just keep reminding the selectors, you know, if there's a slot available, give it to me and don't pass it on to other guys who were, to be fair to them, Roland Hall, Shiv, all of them were scoring runs. So it was important from that point of view to get runs as well. Would have been better if I got 100, but yeah, I'll take the 90. It could have been worse, you know.
You hadn't scored a test century up until then, but you went straight from Jamaica and you did get that first test 100.
Yeah, I got it in the second test in Guyana. Batted with Shiv for a good while in that. I think that was Shiv's first test match. And for me, it was good to finally get that load off my shoulders. You know, I knew what it felt like to wait a lot of years for the first class 100. And yeah, you'd been knocking around. You still weren't too sure about your spot in the team. So to get that 100, I was thinking, oh, well, even if Hooper came back, maybe there might be a place for both of us, which was significant for me.
He's never made a test 100, that's the key. He'll learn to relax. If he makes one, his second one will come easier.
That's it this time. Full toss from Salisbury. Adams puts it away. The first thing he acknowledges are his teammates in the dressing room. And a brilliant moment for Jimmy Adams. His first Test match 100. And it couldn't be more well-deserved.
Let's fast forward some years now. You came back to Sabina in 1999 against a powerful Australia team. That turned out to be an historic victory. Talk to us about that match.
Well, first of all, context. We got skittled for 50 in Trinidad. Lara's neck is on the chopping block with the selectors on the board, and yeah, things weren't as great as they could have been. And I remember walking to the wicket, and the usual chit-chat with me and Brian. We've been batted together for years, and so Pedro Collins had just got hit in his nuts, and he retired hurt, and it was in the morning, so we probably had maybe 80 overs left. And we literally just started counting down overs. So at the end of the over, Brian would say, right, Jimmy, we've got 79 left. And I would say, okay, we've got 62 left. I guess the underlying theme for both of us, you know, we're going into lunch, we've got 2 of us to lunch, and we just kept going. And I think both of us by then were old enough to realize when momentum was shifting. And yeah, pretty much between lunch and tea, we knew, we kept saying, you know, if we are here in 8 overs time, we'd have really taken this game away, and we kept going and we kept going.
No ball, smacked down to the long on boundary for 4 runs.
Lovely shot. Found the gap between mid and mid-on. Nice placement. And they'll come back 4-3. Good 50 for Jimmy Adams. A claim for him now on his home ground here at Sabina Park.
Lovely shot. Beautifully played by Lara.
He's hoisted up, down towards Lavon, into the mound stand. That'll go for another 4. Brian Lara in full flow, moves into the 90s.
What Brian did was special, to be honest. I don't think anybody can understand or appreciate the kind of pressure he was under, just generally going into that series, first of all, and then that game. Selfishly, to have gotten the bird's eye view of the innings at the other end was just the best seat in the house. I mean, I've seen Brian play some magnificent innings, right? But some of them, I didn't spend as much time with him in the middle as I did on that one. So to have been 22 yards or 20 yards away and sort of been a part of it.
150 not out. Well played by the West Indian captain.
It was a huge day for West Indies cricket. We desperately needed something coming off the South Africa series and then that first test loss in Trinidad. So, yeah, I mean, the greatness of Brian, what can I say? And yeah, to be there and then to get that view of the innings was superb.
There it is. whipped it past mid-on, and Matthew Elliott's got to beat a lot of people helping him field the ball. So the umpire will give him 4 runs.
The 200, for where we and he was at that point in time, that week, he had momentum going to Barbados. He had nothing coming into Jamaica. And for anybody under that kind of strain to produce what he produced in the way in which he did it, like, he just dominated and from the whole day. And yeah, you're at the next end, I'll take the crumbs off the table, I'll be fine, you know what I mean? But it was great. It was great week for us here, and yeah, the crowd here was unbelievable as well. We always talk about the crowd at Sabina Park, but it was a full Sabina Park, and it just, you couldn't get away from the atmosphere that the crowd created here. It's fantastic. Coming back to Sabina Park a year after that as captain was very special for many reasons. One, to captain the West Indies obviously was a great honour for me, but to get the chance to do it here at home, where I'd played, I'd learned the game at Sabina Park, which was my own club, and you literally could pick out hundreds of faces in the crowd that you knew personally going back many years. And I remember batting, friends of mine saying, Jimmy, you must have set some world record to bat 3 days for 100.
He's got it. Barely. Jimmy Adams finally gets 100. It's been a long, epic struggle for the West Indies captain.
Yeah, it was just getting a test 100 as captain at home at your club ground. Yeah, I had some champagne after the game. To me, it doesn't get much better than that. Courtney Walsh breaking a world record in the same game.
Message being sent to Courtney Walsh there. Patience does it, Cuddy. Of course, he can't afford to be too patient. Only 2 wickets left.
It was getting to a point where I needed to take him off. And I was like, Courtney, and he kept saying, 1 more skip, 1 more. And it was starting to drag on. I was like, listen, I might have to make a call here. I was the most relieved person when he got it, because I was thinking people were going to say, Jimmy, you're captaining this thing just for your friend and all the rest of it.
You can tell how keen he is just to finish off this innings, to get this wicket. Take on, that's it. Courtney Andrew Walsh is now Test cricket's leading wicket taker. The West Indians surround him on the field.
There's this picture of Wavell Hines like hugging Courtney or almost lifting Courtney off the ground. And Wavell is a generation behind me, but yet Courtney had literally raised all of us, right? His mum had looked after us. If there were nights when we didn't have food or we were struggling, if we needed kit, he would bring kit back for the lads. And there was so much love for him.
There is no more admired cricketer in the game today than Courtney Walsh.
You can see what Courtney meant even to that young generation. Some of them from Jamaica, some of them weren't, but he's always had that effect on people because he's a giver, and he gives of himself, and he loves people, and yeah, it was great feeling, and great to be involved in it as well. So much happened in that game. But that's why we play sport, isn't it? You carry those memories for life. I mean, if I was young enough, I'd be playing now, but it's why we play sport.
West Indies captain Jimmy Adams, who himself will remember this day for a long time for his personal achievement early in the day in scoring his 6th Test 100.
That week would still be one of the highlights of my career, with all that happened while we were here that week against Zimbabwe.
End of it, all over. West Indies have won by 35 runs. Zimbabwe are all out for 63. And Jimmy Adams, in his first Test match as West Indies captain, has led his team, which has pulled off a quite astonishing victory.
The funniest moments here at Sabina Park Franklin Rose getting upset in a first-class game, kicking a chair and breaking his toe, couldn't bowl for the rest of the game. It was like really rosy. Like, you know, in a Jamaica team where stuff like that, you don't get away with it. Lashed out this great kick, the chair went flying, and then in 2-2s we see the foot in a cast. And at test level, I can't go into detail, but let's just say, funny, Curtly Ambrose, enough said.